and you would go in, and it was kind of overpowering because we weren't used to that type of thing. And to see it, and then get the crack of the bat and the feeling of take me out to the ball game was just great.
Let's go! Batter up! We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a ball game today. The fans are out to get a ticket or two. From Walla Walla, Washington to Kalamazoo. It's a beautiful day for a home run, but even a triple's okay. We're gonna cheer and boo and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today.
There was one game at Gilmore Field, April 1950. Anybody who was there will never forget. It was a sunny weekday afternoon. The Stars were playing Portland. Hey, wait a minute. They're wearing shorts.
They did draw a lot of heat from the opposition, but on balance, it could get awfully warm there, and I think they probably had the better deal, except when they had to slide.
Well, the Stars may have had a leg up on the competition, but not over the Dodgers, who came to town in 1958. Los Angeles was really major league, and by then, Gilmore Field and Wrigley Field had played their last inning. Well, it's time to get a bite to eat. Where should we meet? A drive-in? How about McDonald's? Or listen, let's go for broke. I'll see you at the Brown Derby in a few minutes.
Quiet now, this is Mike. We hope you're enjoying this nostalgic, well, would you call it nostalgic romp? I don't know that it's a romp. Back in time. We're enjoying it, though.
No,
and if you'd like to add a little Los Angeles history to your video collection, why not give us a call and a $100 to $20 pledge? When you do, we'll see to it that you receive the show we're watching right now, and the original show, Things That Aren't Here Anymore, and the companion booklet, LA Times Then and Now, which has recently been updated with 4 additional pages, I understand. Now, this package is also available to current members at a special rate, just $90 for both shows, and the Then and Now booklet.
I've got all these messages I wanted to get in here.
I have a few myself.
Well, anyway, another option to think about, in addition to these messages, I actually get your messages here on the phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, for a $75 pledge for the home video of this show, you get it. And the current members get a special break on the price of this offer as well. More Things That Aren't Here Anymore goes for $50 additional contribution if you're already a member.
Of course, all it takes to become a member, you know, is $40, the same amount it has been for nearly a decade.
Are you getting messages too?
Oh, yes. So you can see, it doesn't take a lot of money to join KCET. It takes a lot of enthusiasm for great television.
Oh, don't forget the new Passport member benefits, a year's subscription. You will wake me up as I go on here. KCET magazine, plenty of special member discounts. Anyway, we're a phone call away. It's just that
you haven't read
Army
the magazine in the last 15 minutes. That's the problem.
That's
Army
right.
Archard called?
Army Archard calls. A famous column.
He said hello to Ralph?
He said hello,
Surely
Ralph.
He says hello to me, too. I'm just looking for where it is that Army
he
says hi,
forgot to say hello to Stephanie, and so is a new season of outstanding programs
that's okay.
coming up here.
Army,
coming
never
up.
mind. I got a greeting from Jay Decker of Tops in Travel, my travel agent, friendly travel agent, and he spent some money.
Hey, here's
too.
one. It says, would you turn this over to the Ralph Story office? There it is.
So enjoy. What are we doing now? Tape.
Tape.
Oh, we're going to tape. We'll see you in a minute.
I never cared much for moonlit skies, never winked back at fireflies. But now that the stars are in your eyes, I'm beginning to see the light. And I never went in for afterglow or candlelight on the mistletoe. Now when you turn the lamp down low, I'm beginning to see the light. You know I used to ramble through the park, shadow boxing in the dark. Then you came and lit that spark. That's a four-alarm fire now. I never made love by lantern shine. Never saw rainbows in my wine. But now that your lips are burning mine, I'm beginning to see the light.
You know, we mentioned the new expanded passport benefits that come with a $40 KCET membership. Let me tell you a little bit more about them. Your KCET passport card entitles you to purchase Buzz magazine for 75% off the cover price. You also get 20% off selected performances at the LA Opera, 2-for-1 tickets at the Serendipity Theater, that's in Burbank. Your passport card also gets you special discounts at the Museum of Tolerance, Kaplan Educational Centers, and UCLA at the Arm & Hammer. This is remarkable. All that for a $40 pledge. Now remember, if you'd like to have one of tonight's special thank you gifts, the home video 2-pack, including the show we're watching now and the first show, Things That Aren't Here Anymore, along with the updated LA Times Then and Now booklet, we will send you these things for a contribution of $120. If you're already a member, you can have the 2-pack and the booklet for only $90, or for a pledge of $75, you will get a home video of more Things That Aren't Here Anymore. This gift is also available to current members at a special discount, just $50. Every dollar counts. Well, I expected something a little more titillating than that, but...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And we're counting on you to come through for KCET. Give this man a call.
Become a patron member of KCET and we'll thank you with the enchanting KCET production of Things That Aren't Here Anymore and the sequel, More Things That Aren't Here Anymore. We'll also send you the hardcover book, Landmarks of LA, full of information and history behind this great metropolis. Then we'll take you and a guest downtown on a walking tour with the Los Angeles Conservancy. Plus, you'll also receive the spring edition of the KCET signature T-shirt and tote bag designed by artist Mercedes McDonald. Become a patron member of KCET with a pledge of $500, and we'll thank you with these great gifts.
Talk. Yes. We're getting pledges. Are you ready for this? We are getting pledges from a couple at KFWB, my old buddy Barney at KCBS. You see what we mean
Barney
about...
Fanuth?
Yes.
My very first cameraman. Barney and I kind of started in show business together. Bless you, Barney, for calling in. I know you would have said hi to me, too. It's just that they didn't make it on the note. Go ahead.
I think she sat on her copy of Buzz magazine. Anyway, Ed Abramson called and he wants to see a compilation of Ralph's Story Los Angeles. There's one little problem, Ed. The program was on before there was videotape. You see? Little problems like that. Anyway, certainly pledges of any amount are welcome tonight, but we also want you to use these breaks as an opportunity to communicate with KCET.
That's right.
People are doing that.
Yeah, so talk to us. Let us know what KCET can do to better serve your interests. This is public television, you know. We count on you for more than financial support. We count on you for ideas, too. Now, the phone lines are open. And the number to call...
They write it right here.
There it is. Free, 1-800-877-4848. You betcha.
Right now, when you pledge $40 to KCET on any major credit card, you'll receive a $10 gift certificate for the KCET Store of Knowledge. A world of discovery awaits. There are thousands of items to pick up, play with, and explore. And at our many convenient locations, you'll find something for everyone. So call now and make a pledge of $40 or more on your credit card and receive your $10 gift certificate without delay. Entertain your brain. The adventure in learning begins at the KCET Store of Knowledge.
I think Barney Fanuth's precious wife is Phyllis, and we were neighbors, and in fact she allowed my mother-in-law to stay in their little guest cabin a couple of times. Boy, it brings me back to living on North La Brea, but that's for another Things That Weren't Here Anymore. Just a brief reminder before we return to the show. Tonight we're offering home videos of both the original program, Things That Aren't Here Anymore, and tonight's sequel, More Things That Aren't Anything. This video 2-pack is our gift to you, along with the companion LA Times Then and Now booklet when you make a pledge of $120 to support KCET. Now, the 2-pack.
2-pack.
With the booklet is only $90 if you're a KCET member. The single home video, More Things That Aren't Here Anymore, goes out to new members for a pledge of $75 or just $50 for current members. You can send in a check when you get your pledge reminder in the mail, or fulfill your pledge right away when you use any major credit card. The number to call, 1-800-877-4848, and we do thank you for any extra support.
Thou swell, thou witty, thou sweet, thou grand, wouldst kiss me pretty, wouldst hold my hand, both thine eyes do what they do to me. Hear me holler, I choose a sweet lollapalooza in thee. I'd feel so rich in a hut for two. 2 rooms and kitchen, I'm sure will do. Give me just a plot of, not a lot of land. And sibby-doo-doo-doo-doo, sibby-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, speed-it-down, shake-a-dee-dee-doo-dee-ah. Thou grand, so-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
One of the most fascinating parts of doing these pledge breaks in between sections of the program is that people see parts of the program and call in. Last week, the fellow who called in after that Glendale Airport segment, believe it or not, was the guy who ran the control tower.
Really?
At Glendale Airport, yes, and if we could have talked to him before the program,
yeah.
wouldn't that have been wonderful? And then just now, someone came up and said, you know the Glendale Airport? Do you remember Casablanca?
The movie?
The movie?
Please.
Do you remember Humphrey?
Every moment of it.
In the rain?
Yes.
In the
Last
airport
scene,
at the end? The last
round up the usual suspects.
Grand Central Air Terminal in Glendale was where that was filmed.
No.
Yeah, that's what this program is about. Bits and pieces of our past. Thank you for your calls.
And how
Let's
romantic.
return now for the conclusion of More Things That Aren't Here Anymore on member-supported KCET. Get your copy of Buzz magazine now. Dave Chazen made a very good bowl of chili, and he made that into a very fancy restaurant. It became a favorite of the movie colony, what they call the lifestyle of the rich and famous. But now, Chazen's restaurant is just a boarded-up memory. And so is Perino's, and so is Scandia, and so is the Tail of the Cock, and Vickman's, and dozens of others. And that's my point. Restaurants are a risky business. Of all the things that aren't here anymore, restaurants are the most. So where should we begin? Well, probably with the most famous restaurant in the history of Los Angeles, and the most illogical. I mean, who wants to eat in a hat? A derby hat, a brown derby hat.
What I remember about it was very Hollywood looking. I mean, in terms of kind of dark colors, but comfortable. Maybe elegant, shabby.
They had a booth where if you wanted to get a rumor started in Hollywood, you'd sit in this particular booth. And the way the room was shaped, everybody on the opposing side heard what you said.
I remember the waitresses. They were all very, very beautiful. And the rumor was, and I'm sure it's quite true, that they had come to Hollywood to be in the movies and didn't make the grade or were waiting to be discovered or something.
The Brown Derby starred in 27 movies, which is more than most of the stars who ate there. And it was so successful, owner Bob Kopp duplicated his hat-shaped hotspot in Hollywood. This one wasn't shaped like a derby at all, but it was an even greater success. And it soon became the place where the movers and shakers of show business met every day for lunch.
You know, there were some very famous booths at the Derby. One of them happens to be where Clark Gable proposed to Carole Lombard. And if you were a romantic couple, they would seat you there.
Above those private booths were pictures, caricatures of the stars who ate there. And as the story goes, the Derby's maitre d' was fond of the Hollywood gossip columns. He knew everything and anything about his celebrity clientele.
And if a marriage broke up or a romance broke up and your caricatures were side by side on the wall, he would discreetly move one of them away and put somebody else there. Or add that one if you were now dating, so you'd come in and sit in the booth under your own caricatures. Jimmy Durante was the only star who had two frames on the wall for his caricature. One for him and one for the nose.
While the Tinseltown regulars gathered to be seen, perhaps the biggest star to come out of the Brown Derby was a salad, the Cobb salad. Actually, owner Bob Cobb came up with this concoction for two of his best customers, movie executive Irving Thalberg, who had digestion problems, and his movie star wife Norma Shearer, who was watching her weight. Voila, a salad is born.
This is the story as it goes. He went in the kitchen and he started. Now, if you chop up everything very, very small, a baby could digest it. Irving can digest it. And if you serve it in a rainbow on the plate before it's mixed, a person on a diet can leave out the things that are fattening. And frequently, the MGM limousine would pull up and pick up two of the Cobb salads and deliver them back to the studio.
But the showbiz crowd changed its taste, and the old brown hat went out of style and never came back. Fast times were giving way to fast food, and the Derby couldn't keep up. A whole new era of eating had emerged. Los Angeles was falling in love with the drive-in. And there was a particular hamburger joint out in San Bernardino that isn't here anymore. But what it started is still very much with us. A cheap, cheerful meal on the run.
By the time we were in cars, we would come down here and you would pack the car up with as many people as you could, and then you would buy the 12 hamburgers and you would feast for $1. And of course, you'd try to get French fries. You'd really like to get a chocolate milkshake, which were wonderful. But if you couldn't, you'd get water.
The owners were two brothers, and nearly 50 years ago, they were selling hamburgers faster than they could cook them. They only charged 12 cents apiece. Their name was McDonald. For a while, their little drive-in was the social and culinary center of San Bernardino.
It wasn't a mystique, it was the food they served. And they moved it out fast. Who ever heard of a malted milkshake or having 6 of them at each station, which means they had 36 malted milks cracking up at one time.
The McDonald brothers bought those milkshake mixers from a fellow named Ray Kroc, who speeded up the assembly line and then franchised the idea. The fast food revolution was suddenly on its way, golden arches and all. Well, when it was all said and done, they really didn't give the original McDonald's much of a break. The little drive-in was torn down in 1972. Today, only a small plaque remembers the billions of burgers it gave birth to. What makes a restaurant a hit or a miss? Well, as any real estate dealer will tell you, it's location, 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 which explains why the Rex isn't with us anymore. The Rex was not exactly handy. You had to take a water taxi 3 miles out into Santa Monica Bay, cost 25 cents, and then climb aboard a beautiful old sailing freighter, which had been converted at considerable expense into a gambling casino. Well, no big thing today, but before World War II, this was major news. And there were similar ships moored off Redondo and Long Beach. An armada of sin was on the horizon, and 1,000 sinners a night were floating out to shoot dice and spin the wheel.
You see these white boats out there, and they had flags flying, and we knew what they were. There was gossip, you know. And at night, they were all lighted, so you could see these beautiful twinkly lights. They were very festive, very glamorous looking, and very wicked sounding.
Your host was a handsome, well-dressed fellow named Tony Cornero, who had made a bundle smuggling booze during Prohibition. Tony had charm and he had money, but his reputation left a lot to be desired. I mean, he was not a member of the Jonathan Club, if you get what I mean.
If they were gangsters, they didn't look like the ones portrayed in the movies. I mean, like James Cagney or Edward G. Robinson, nothing like that. But we thought it was a lot of fun. And no amount was too small to gamble. A nickel, dime, quarter, anything. I've seen people playing roulette for nickels.
The gambling ships were a great success and a great adventure, but they made one little mistake. They lured the gamblers away from the gambling on shore, away from the Sunset Strip and Santa Anita. So Mayor Fletcher Bowron organized the police and the feds to attack the ships with fire hoses. And that was the famous Battle of Santa Monica Bay, where Tony Cornero said, "I will not give up the ship." But later he did anyway, and that was that. The whole kit and caboodle was deep sixed. As for Tony Cornero and all those sinners, well, they retreated to a place on dry land called Las Vegas.
This doesn't rhyme, but one of these days soon we'll be seeing you. And meantime, this is Bob Hope thanking you for those letters to command performance.
Now there's a familiar voice, and you know we used to really pay attention to these radios. I mean, that was not just audible wallpaper. In the early television sets, we really watched them. They were more than electronic furniture. Now they're all empty. The faces and voices that made these come to life are also things that aren't here anymore. Seemed to me we should pay attention to some important people of Los Angeles. The first live televised dancing show originated in the Santa Monica Ballroom, and the orchestra leader was a fellow named Donnell Clyde Cooley.
Spade Cooley!
A fiddler who was also a real violinist, Cooley added strings and complicated arrangements to all those guitars, and before long, country and western music moved out of the hayloft and into the living room. Spade Cooley became known as the king of western swing, and he was the king.
Everyone watched the Spade Cooley show. And he was by hour, I mean West Coast. He was the West Coast edition of Ed Sullivan. There was no competition for him on Saturday nights.
While Spade Cooley may have been the first Los Angeles television star, he was also a falling star. In a few years, champagne music drowned out the western swing. Lawrence Welk became king of the TV hill. A troubled career, trouble with the bottle, a troubled marriage, a troubled man. Maybe you remember.
He had separated from his wife because she finally got to the point where she couldn't take his drinking and his temper. And he'd gone up to the house, I guess to see her, and was drunk. And they got into a fight, and he killed her.
But that was not the end. There were still a few bars of music left in the song of Spade Cooley. Years later, he was given a temporary leave so he could perform at a sheriff's benefit concert.
He was out on the stage, and people were cheering. He walked off the stage and was backstage, and he says, "Well, I guess I'm back." And they're yelling and stamping. He walked towards the stage, grabbed the curtain, had a heart attack, and died, with the cheers of the audience and the applause in his ears.
If nothing else, Spade Cooley was able to fulfill his last wish. He didn't die in prison, but he'll forever be known as our first television tragedy. If you listened to radio and watched enough television, you were bound to hear this voice, a real madman, our greatest used car dealer. Remember Madman Months and all those crazy TV commercials?
From the factory.